Hello, it's great to see you again. Fingerprints are one of the most fascinating and intriguing aspects of the human body. While we commonly associate fingerprints with crime investigations and personal identification, today they are used for various purposes in our daily lives. However, one question arises: why don't the over 8 billion people on Earth have matching fingerprints? Let's join Facts 5 Minutes to find the answer in the following video. Firstly, fingerprints were not originally intended for police to identify criminals. Their main purpose is to enhance grip when humans use tools and to increase tactile sensitivity. Identifying individuals is merely a secondary function of fingerprints, conceived by humans after they discovered that each person's fingerprints are unique and remain unchanged throughout their life. You might have heard somewhere that the probability of two people having identical fingerprints is just 1 in 64 billion. It sounds convincing, but there's a catch. The fingerprints of most people in the world have never been cross-checked. This means we truly don't know how many people in the world have matching fingerprints. In fact, the 1 in 64 billion probability is just an estimate. It was calculated 132 years ago by British scholar Francis Galton. He first collected a large number of fingerprints, categorized them into different types such as loops, whorls, and arches. Then, he analyzed the specific ridges of the fingerprints to calculate the probability of each feature appearing. Finally, he multiplied the probabilities of individual features together to arrive at the 1 in 64 billion figure. So, it can be seen that this number, which many people consider a truth, is actually just a reference. In reality, there have been several instances where two people were found to have matching fingerprints. At least, they were similar enough that machines or humans, or both, could not distinguish them. The most famous case occurred in 2004 when Brandon Mayfield, an American lawyer, was arrested on suspicion of involvement in a terrorist bombing. Despite evidence showing that he was in the US at the time of the bombing in Madrid, Spain, the FBI insisted he was the terrorist because his fingerprint matched 100%, according to the FBI, with a fingerprint found on a bag at the explosion site. The FBI was later embarrassed when that they claimed to be a 100% match was proven false. It turned out there were up to 20 fingerprints that could match the terrorist's fingerprint, and Brandon Mayfield's was one of them. The difference was that Brandon was the only one who was Muslim. The modern fingerprint identification process can be summarized as follows. The suspect's fingerprint is loaded into an automatic fingerprint identification system and compared with millions of fingerprints in the database. These fingerprints are collected when you get an ID or perform military service. The computer extracts detailed characteristics and specific ridges to search for matching results. These results are then reviewed and evaluated by human experts to ensure accuracy. In Brandon Mayfield's case, his fingerprint was so similar to the terrorist's that it passed both human and machine evaluations. But in the end, it still didn't match. No! After all, fingerprints still seem to be unique. So why do the fingerprints of different people, including identical twins and even the fingerprints of fingers on the same hand, almost never match? The answer lies in how they are formed. Back in the 1950s, Alan Turing, the father of computer science, proposed that some unique patterns on living beings, from zebra stripes, tiger stripes, the fingerprints of koalas or some primates and rodents, to human fingerprints and even tongue prints, are the result of two opposing forces acting on adjacent cells during the organism's development. Later, scientists observed the development of fingerprints in mouse embryos and observed human cells growing in a petri dish to confirm this. It turns out fingerprints are formed in the womb. The fingerprint formation process begins in the 10th week of pregnancy and usually ends by the 28th week. During this time, the innermost layer of skin, also known as the basal layer, begins to form. But this layer grows faster than the dermis and epidermis above it. When the basal cells push upward, it creates pressure. This pressure causes the palms and soles of the fetus to swell temporarily. These swellings, called volar pads, push up the layers of skin above them, creating permanent ridges known as fingerprints. Countless factors influence the final shape of fingerprints during the 18 weeks they form. These factors include the random position of the baby's fingers in the womb, the consistency of the amniotic fluid, and the movements of the fetus. And because the entire process is a series of random events at the cellular level, human fingerprints generally always have differences. Do you agree with Facts 5 minutes, or do you have any additional thoughts? Please leave your comments below. As always, remember to like the video if you find it useful. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to watch more new videos. And now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.